With the colder months of the year ahead of us, we tend to spend more and more of our time inside. And with this often comes a desire to make our homes feel extra cozy and like a place where we can just relax and snuggle up. Personally, I am more of a minimalist when it comes to my decor, but I like to add some seasonal touches here and there, specifically to our living room right here. I especially like to switch out our cushion covers of our throw pillows, both on the couch and the window seat that is behind me. And we also have an armchair that you cannot see because it sits right behind you. But those are the places where I like to add some throw pillows. And since there are so many beautiful knitting and crochet cushion covers out there, I wanted to film this video to show you 10 of these beautiful patterns and hopefully give you some inspiration for your own. There is also a blog post all about this topic available on my website, and in case you're interested, I'm going to link it for you in the description box. Let's get started. By the way, if we haven't met before, my name is Annika and I'm coming to you from Germany. I am a natural yarn dyer as well as an avid knitter, but I also like to crochet, sew, spin, embroider, basically everything that is related to the fiber arts. Let's get on to the cushion covers now, shall we? We are going to start the list with a super cute pillow from Paul Soho called the Bobble Sheep Pillow. And this is also a free pattern, which is always great. I adore the look of this pillow, and I imagine since you are probably a knitter or crocheter yourself, you might also be very fond of sheep like I am. And I think this pillow is just super, super cute. I love the bobbles all over it, and it actually reminds me of a favorite baby hat knitting pattern of mine that I've made several times before for various nieces of mine. I'm going to put up a picture so that you can see. This is a vintage knitting pattern, and I think the bobbles are probably the same like the ones in the sheep pillow. This is a pillow that I could totally see myself making for our living room. In fact, I could imagine that if you just made a very long sheep version of it, that it could also act as a, how do you call it, like a draft stopper to prevent the cold of the outside to get in through the windows here. And since we do live in a very old home, our house is 110 years old by now, we do have the issue that the cold gets in from the old windows. And I imagine having this cute sheep pillow as a draft stopper would not only look very nice, but be also very purposeful. We'll see if I get around to making it this season, but I definitely wanted to mention it to you. It is knitted in an Aran weight yarn, which means that it is probably going to knit up very quickly. The gauge is 14 stitches and 20 rows per 10 centimeters. Next up is the Minto Cushion by Knitonomy, who is Magdalena Parker. I absolutely adore this timeless classic cable cushion cover. It is knitted in the round, and you also have the option to add some tassels. Magdalena has made several versions of the Minto Cushion in various sizes and colors, so you should definitely have a look at her Ravelry project page. And if you like this particular stitch pattern, she also offers a hat, tee, and I think also a sweater version with this cable motif. Overall, Magdalena has a beautiful design aesthetic with a focus on neutral colors and natural fibers. So I definitely recommend that you check her out if you like the look of the Minto Cushion. Next up, let's look at a set, and this is the High Desert Pillow Covers by Natalia 1905. I absolutely adore the different textures of these pillow covers. You have one that is very simple with just a mix of garter stitch and stockinette stitch. Then you have the second one with the two large cable panels that are running across it. And third, you have this all over colorwork motif, and I absolutely adore all of them, and I would love to make them and have them sitting on the couch as a cute little set. And just in case you do not like this particular set but are looking for a pillow cover set in general, I also wanted to mention the Coco Pillow Set by Vanessa Palisa. Now this is another very beautiful design. The yarn she used is knitted in yarn, so an unspun yarn from the Swedish company Honor och Air. And this is more of a rustic yarn that creates this beautiful rustic looking texture. The pattern includes various different pillow sizes, and you also have the option to either full on knit the pillow and close it with buttons, or use a fabric as a backing that you attach to the knitted front piece. Now Vanessa Palisa kindly offered a 25% discount code for you. So if you use the code Rosemary and Pines, all caps, I'm also going to put it in the description for you, you will get 25% off the purchase price on Ravelry, which I think is just awesome. Thank you so much, Vanessa. And in case you have not knitted with unspun yarn before, it can be a bit tricky because it is so delicate and comes apart very easily. I have filmed different videos about my best tips and tricks of knitting with unspun yarn that I'm also going to link for you. Next up is another cushion cover that was knitted with an unspun yarn, this time Plötulopi by the Icelandic brand Istex. This is called the Aosta Cushion, and it is by the Knit Pearl Girl, who is Sophie. So Sophie used the unspun Plötulopi held together with a strand of a silk mohair. She used Filcolana tilia, and the rustic nature of the unspun yarn together with this interesting stitch pattern gives a very beautiful natural look, in my opinion. And here is how the designer describes the pattern herself. This is a knitting pattern for a simple cushion cover worked in all over Andalusian stitch on 7mm needles. The pattern has instructions for 4 different sized cushions and has been designed to use Icelandic wool, since many knitters want to try this type of yarn but may not be able to wear it close to their skin. Which I think is just such an awesome idea, to design a cushion cover specifically for those of you who would like to work with unspun yarn but just can't tolerate it against your skin. By the way, I just realized that I'm also wearing something made out of an unspun yarn today. This is my timepiece cardigan, a pattern by Albina McLaughlin, and I knitted it in knitted in yarn from Honor och Air, and the colorway is called Livslinje. Personally, I am not very sensitive towards rustic yarns, but I totally get it that some of you don't really like this rustic texture next to your skin. So I think a cushion cover, the Aosta Cushion for example, or any other pattern would be a great option for you. Next up, let's talk about a crochet pattern, and this is the special edition Sunburst Special Edition Basic Sunburst Pillow by Mallory Craw. Wow, that was a mouthful, but it is a very, very beautiful pattern. And I also really like the fact that you can get the pattern either for free on her website, where you would have to deal with the ads, of course, or you can purchase it on Ravelry. And it also comes with video tutorials, which I think is always a great thing. I absolutely adore the look of this pattern. I feel like when it comes to crochet granny squares, you often get some very colorful versions, which I also like, but in this case I think the one color version makes it very classic and understated, and this is a pillow I would love to crochet myself. Now the next pattern that I want to show you is this one. This is called the Santa Pillow by Kathy Lewinsky for Knit Picks, and I just think it is so cute. Yeah, I know it's not Christmas yet, but you could also make a tree version using the same pattern, which I am going to show you a picture of that someone on Ravelry did, and I think was just such a smart idea. But I have to say, I really like those little Santas and the all over geometric print almost of this design. It is all over color work, of course, but yeah, I think this would be an awesome project maybe to start this fall and then work on until the time leading up to Christmas. And I also wanted to read the designer's inspiration to you because I think it's just so lovely. She says that this clean and modern design is inspired by the Tomte, a domestic spirit who protected the farm. With a pointed red head and long white beard, it looks a lot like a gnome and Santa Claus. Bring a bit of whimsy and the flair of Scandinavian style home for the holidays. Now, there is a famous children's book by the Swedish author Astrid Lindgren, and it is all around this gnome called Tomte. I am going to link it in the description box if you haven't heard about it before. But when I was growing up, we had several of those books in my own childhood home, and we also have ones for our own children that we especially used to read with them when they were just a little bit younger, so around kindergarten or preschool. And it is just an absolutely adorable and lovely story, and I would love to have a pillow that reminds me of Tomte. Now let's continue with the color work theme, and the next design that I wanted to show you is called the Winter Pillow by Stana di Sortor, and it is another free pattern with, like I mentioned, an all over color work design that is knitted in the round from the bottom up, and you also have the option to include a zipper so that you can easily switch out the cushion cover. And I think this is a very, very classic and beautiful design that I would love to make someday. There are just too many beautiful patterns out there. But yeah, I wanted to show it to you because I think it's just pretty. And another very similar version that is called Vinterpute is this one. I think Vinterpute also means winter pillow in English, and this is a design by Birger Berge. Another free pattern, which is always a great thing, and I imagine this would look very, very beautiful and lovely on the couch as well. And one last suggestion that I have for you is to actually recycle an old garment into a knitted pillow. This is my version here, and I have to be a bit careful because I just noticed that it is coming apart slightly on the seams here, so I will have to fix that later on. So this is a knitted pillow that once was a sweater. The sweater was knitted by the mother of my mother-in-law, so my husband's grandmother, and she made a beautiful all-over colorwork sweater. But yeah, the sweater just got a bit out of style and nobody was wearing it, and my mother-in-law asked me if I wanted to have the sweater because she didn't have any use for it anymore. And with her permission, of course, I decided to cut up the sweater and sew a pillow out of it, and this is it here. And I absolutely love the fact that a garment that was no longer used but took a lot of time and effort to create can now have a kind of a second life as a cushion cover. And we always use this pillow cover around Christmas time, and I really, really like it. And if you are interested in making something like this yourself, I have written a whole blog post with a detailed step-by-step tutorial of how to make something like this yourself. So I'm going to put that in the description box for you in case you're interested. So those are my 10 cushion cover recommendations. And along with this, I have also filmed a video all about 10 fall blanket patterns. So if you would like to get super cozy, not only with your handmade cushion covers, but also with a handmade blanket, I suggest that you check out this video next. And until next time, happy making. Bye guys!